Showtime. All right. Welcome. You are watching Real Talk TV. I wonder if I could put some music. You know what? I'm gonna put what's name music on as I wait for people to come into the room. Why do he keep calling me Rainy? Who? What? I gotta contact me, babe. All right, give me 1 second for anyone who is in here. I'm gonna see if I can find. Um, let's see. Yes. Okay, you should be drawing something for your thing.
I know, I was just doing some practice.
Uh, let's see. Is this the one I liked? Yeah.
Get it through your head, you don't want no more. Talking to herself, this girl's about to blow. They sweating you for no reason, must be bugging. Seasonal, cars on hold. Told them where to go. She likes the wind in her hair, she got a song in her heart. Vision in her eyes, success at her fingertips.
Make sure you hit the like as you come in.
The clouds drifting slow, surely they roll. She had enough of a grind, enough of the 9 to 5. Bigger fish to fry. The day is coming quickly, it'll be left behind. The breeze makes her easy, sun makes her glow. The clouds drifting slow, but surely they roll. She likes the wind in her hair, she got a song in her heart. Vision in her eyes, success at her fingertips. Fingertips. The to-do list is growing, make the best of your time. Talking to herself, this shit's gonna be mine. Procrastinate for no reason, motivation is key. Make it if you want it, take it if you want. The breeze makes her breezy, sun makes her glow. The clouds drifting slow, surely they roll. She likes the wind in her hair, she got a song in her heart. Vision in her eyes, success at her fingertips. Fingertips. Remove your mask of a corporate ambassador. Unleash the chains, unchase that grain. Untaint the mane and the crown that remains of a queen and her reign. The throne and her reign. The breeze makes her easy, sun makes her glow. The clouds drifting slow, but surely they roll. She likes the wind in her hair, she got a song in her heart. Vision in her eyes, it sits at her fingertips. 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 Fingertips.
All right. If you like that song, it is called Fingertips. It's by In Great Ink here on YouTube. The letter N, Gray, Gray, Ink, INK, In Great Ink. Please subscribe to that channel if you enjoyed that. The track is called Beyond Deep. I love that song. Let me tell you, I love that song. So that probably will be my new intro as people come in for my lives. So again, please subscribe to Ingrid Inc. If you enjoyed that song called Fingertips. All right, y'all. You see the title. I'm going to show you. Let me share. Please put in the chat how you are doing today as I share my screen. All right, here we go. So I knew about this article for a while now. And I wanted to share my thoughts on it today. Because I think we focus on things external of our things that we can change, or things that we can that really affect our communities. So I really wanted to bring this topic up. First of all, there are several facets in this article, in this story, someone's real life situation, unfortunately, that need to be addressed. And that's why we're here today. So I'm gonna read the article, and then we're gonna discuss it. If I get people, if not, I'm gonna break down my interpretation of how this truly is affecting our community. Okay. So the article is titled "Mom Fatally Shot at Memorial for Son Killed Days Earlier." So Delissa Tucker was just steps away from her son's memorial early Wednesday morning when she was fatally shot. She had lost 14-year-old Kevin Tinker to gun violence the Sunday before, and friends said she was tending to his memorial when she was gunned down. While she was lighting candles for her son, her life was taken, wrote Michelle Thurpe, a family friend. She had a GoFundMe page. Police responded to a shot spotter alert at around 12:15 a.m. and found Tucker 31 years old, y'all, younger than me. Oh my goodness. 31 years old, lying on a sidewalk in the 200 block of West 110th Place. Is that it? 110th Place. She was transported to Roseland Hospital and pronounced dead, according to officials. They reported finding no one on the block who saw the shooting, and no one's been taken into custody for that attack or the one on her son. Let me get a pen, piece of paper, real quick. Do you have another something for? Because I don't want to lose these points. Can I get this? Okay. Okay. On Sunday, her son was shot several times at the exact same location and pronounced dead on the scene, according to police. All right. He was a quiet boy, Thurpe. If I'm pronouncing it wrong, I apologize. It might be Tharp. Wrote in the GoFundMe page, "Rest well, little Kevin." CPD said investigations for both shootings are ongoing. Chicago police declined to comment on whether the shootings are connected, according to the Chicago Sun-Times. Tucker leaves behind 5 other children, according to the source. Shootings have spiked in Chicago this year, according to CPD. Crime data. As of November 8th, there had been 3,105 incidences in 2021, an increase of 10% over 2020, and a 66% increase compared with 2019. And so they show you some statistics. And is at the end of the article. Let me see. I guess that's the end of the article. Okay. Um, so first let me ask, are you familiar with this article? Are you familiar with situations like this? Um, the reason I'm asking this question, what is happening here? Okay, let's go back to it. All right. The reason I'm asking this question is because there are several points that stick out to me, that we as a community still will not address. Number one, they didn't mention anything about the father. Where was the father in this situation? We talk about that there are good men out there. Where? Where are the good men? Um, it mentions I mean, I want to spend a whole day on just the absence and what it's doing to young men, the absence of the father figure in the home. It don't have to necessarily be the man who produced the child, but where are men stepping up? I, when we talk about um males and male role models, we hear men give their experience and their account of how they were in the life of doing different things. And you know what, I'm gonna drop the link, because if it's a male in here who want to get their perspective, sure, why not? Okay. They talk about what they went through, how they um went to prison in some cases, and now they are out. They have reformed their lives. Um, they have reformed their lives. But my question is, what are you now doing specifically, directly, to stop other children from falling into the hands of the streets? I'm not asking you to get online and preach. That's not what they need right now. That's not what young children need right now. She was a mother of 7 children, and they didn't specify whether or not he was the father of all. There was the one father or multiple fathers. I don't even think that even matters, honestly. But for this case, where was the father? Why are so many fathers not present? Why are so many not present? And if there is a something systematic that is happening, let me delete this so nobody won't be confused. Um, oops. Okay, I can't delete it. Whatever. If there is a situation where the couples aren't getting along, or the partners, with whoever, the baby daddy, you and them are not getting along, why is there no accountability to say, you know what, I created this child, I am not with the mother, but I created this child, so I'm going to be in the child's life. I'm going to do for this child, especially if it's a boy. If it's a boy, I'm going to make sure that he doesn't follow in the footsteps that I myself ended up um following. I don't want him to be in the life that I myself lived. Where's the accountability on that aspect? The mother. I mean, people don't understand, and I'm going to just say this. I hope mother's accountable, but at some point, I hold her accountable for having. I don't know what that situation is. Maybe or maybe not. Has 7 children, without first reflecting on the possibility of the her suitors, the people that she's having children with. What do they bring to the table? The reason I say I'm not going to be so hard on her is, number one, right? Um, no one anticipates No one anticipates the person that they have a child with leaving them, abandoning them, getting locked up. Those are all another person's individual actions. I can't, no matter how much I love on you, because that's what this channel preaches: love, relationship building, relationship development. No matter how much I love on you, I cannot change you. I can't change your heart. I can't change the decisions that you're going to make in life. I can't change the decisions that you've made in life. And I notice a lot of times women get with men in our community so that she can change, so she can mold. That is not your son to mold. That is not your daughter to mold. You can't mold a man. He's already a man, or physically already a man. Whether he is mentally, emotionally, that's something he has to work on himself. That's the first point, is parenting. Parenting. What is happening to us as parents? What is happening to us as building relationships with one another before the child comes into play, before the child is even in existence? Why are we not being responsible with the people we choose? Is this a product of fear mongering? I mean, I don't know too much of the backstory, but hello, Black women are told we have to be the ride or die, the down chick. We're told that we have to stick in there for our man, no matter what, right or wrong. We have to be there for him. We have to hold him down. Why? Why? He should have a mother. I'm not his mother. You're not his mother. She is not your mother, Black man. She's not. Now, whether you lost her, your own mother, that is something you're going to have to work on, figure out, get therapy for, cry out, and then heal from. I'm going to do a plug. I'm working on a book for males, 15 Steps to Finding Love for males, how to heal from those traumas, those childhood traumas, what people would call generational curses. Start reading more. Find out what the initial problem is for these relationships not to grow into healthy relationships where you have a male or two parents in a household. Where are our protectors? She was not protected. This mother. And you want to know what she did? She mourned the loss of a child who was in the streets. She was mourning the loss of a child who was in the streets. He was gunned down. Right? Now, we don't know if he was gunned down for arguing with someone. That is a whole other issue. Media and policing. Right? But something occurred. He was 14 years old. 14 years old. He wasn't even out of middle school at 14 years old. He's still in middle school. What could he possibly be into at 14 years old to get gunned down on a corner? Which tells me, why was he in no extracurricular activities at 14? No extracurricular activities. His mind should have been occupied with things that 14-year-olds' minds and other races are occupied with. We're losing a game. We're losing this war, this battle, this game, however you want to identify it. It's being lost because the people who can change it are online, and that's it. It stops right there. It stops with a Instagram post. It stops with a YouTube conversation. I was in a live last night. Shout out to Big Dog Philly. Um Philly's channel. I was in a live last night and I was listening to a panel full of Black men, brown men, indigenous men talking about the world around them, talking about what happens and why the system is the way it is. And oops, I still got this up, y'all. Why ain't nobody tell me I still got my banner up? Talking about what happens and why things are the way they are. And as much as I enjoyed the panel, I heard some people saying what we could do, what we can do, but what I didn't hear is what they are doing. I didn't hear that at all. And my question is, how many of those men are single? How many of them aren't in a relationship? And you say, oh goodness, why are you talking about relationships and when we're supposed to be building a community? Well, the first step to building a relationship is number one, the one with yourself. And number two, the one with the other part of you that's going to build the community. You can't devote your life and love to an entire community if you can't even devote your life and love to another person. You can't be loyal to another person. Hello, Egypt. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this, Egypt. Feel free to participate in the comments, your thoughts. The link is in the chat for whenever somebody wants to come up. I want to have a discussion, a real discussion about what we can do. This mother lost her life. What's up, Sugar Love? What's up, mamas? Sugar Love, you did a video live about single mothers and how men are or what's his name? The Samuels guy, Kevin Samuels, told a woman to turn away or look away at somebody assaulting their child, harming their child, because they're supposed to be that desperate with because they have children. And women should accept the fact that men just not into them for having children. That's bizarre because some other man created that child. Some other version of you, men, some other version of you created that child. And without a higher, more sustainable person like you, that child is going to end up lost in this world, repeating a cycle of abuse to themselves and to others. Hello, Truth Master. How are you? It's so good to see new people in here, to see my the people who come frequently. Thank you. Yummy is my ride or die. We are each other's ride or die. Egypt says she's from Chicago. Okay, so this article, Egypt, is from Chicago as well. In Atlanta, something that I see is an energy shift. Yes. But what is happening? What is the energy shift? What is the energy shift? The energy shift is Black women, brown women, however you want to identify yourself, indigenous women, African women. So many terms that we get hung up on. But no matter what, we are all melanated, right? Women of melanin who come from descendants of those who fought for us to get here, period. Some were enslaved, most were enslaved, many, right? We have chosen to elevate, we have chosen to walk, not just talk, but walk, not just walk, but lead. What is happening that men are not doing the same? What is happening in the mind of a man that they are not doing the same? They are allowing those 14-year-old boys to shoot and kill, to be the victims of such senseless murder. What is happening? The saying I hear a lot is a woman can't teach a boy to be a man, right? A woman can't teach a boy to be a man. So when will the men step up? Does it only have to be your child that you can raise into a man? Does it only have to be your child? Did you grow up without a father, and how did that make you feel? Did you grow up without a father figure? How did that make you feel? Sugar love, sugar love. Uh-oh. Is something wrong with my volume? Can anybody hear sugar love?
No, I didn't say
Okay.
nothing yet.
Uh,
I'm sorry, the allergies is through my nose, my throat, and everything. This disturbs me so much. I just wanted to hear. Now, does it say why did the son got shot?
it doesn't. No, the article does not tell us. Nope.
So we don't know if it's gang related or
Nope.
he was wrong place at the wrong time.
Nope.
See, that's the main part that's missing. Because back in
Yep.
the days, uh, that's where they would get more people at, because they know everybody's coming to the funeral or the memorial.
Mm.
So we need to really find out, why was the son shot? Was he random? Because did he make? I want to know, did he make his mother a target?
Mm. By his actions, right?
Right, right. So this is something good, girl. We could dig all into this. You probably could just write it right now. See if you can find another.
An article. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yes. So absolutely. I think, and that's one of the things you probably weren't in here when I first mentioned it. But that was a big question, is what happened. And unfortunately the media in our local police force are the cause of the confusion.
hmm
So first of all, the person who gunned down this young man was not caught, or nobody, there was no um investigation that led to an arrest.
right,
So
right.
whatever happened, left the suspect out to kill again.
Mm-mm-mm.
And so the mother, mourning the loss of her child, taken in the same spot, in the same exact spot. And that person who took her life, no arrests were made.
And I like to say, because girl, these KS people, but they don't really understand. I don't care, but you got to see the nasty stuff that they write me. But speaking upon the what we did yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
when they was spoke upon, don't date women with children. I kept calling you because I wanted you to come on the panel, but I still want you to come on the panel today if you have the time, because I'm doing it. Well, we don't want to mess with men with kids neither. But the problem is what they not understanding is that they are very selfish. It's not even about dating a woman with a child. That could be even being a coach, because you're still dealing with somebody else's kids too. Everywhere you go in life, you're going to be dealing with kids that belong to somebody else.
That's right.
You can't. I mean, unless you so boozy and you don't have to deal with them. But that's why we have articles like this now, because nobody took the chance to, nobody stepped up to the plate and say, you know what, I see something, is wrong with this child. Let me help them, or let me try to help them, or let me put a program together for them, because they too busy hating single women and single mothers so much. They don't know that if you don't help fix the problem, these kids get older. They may be the one that rob your car or shoot you or something.
Yep.
And then,
Exactly. And so we mourn the loss of this young man, but we don't know what, number one, he was into himself. We don't know what he could have developed into as he got older.
yeah, but I mean, it's a shame to hear a bunch of grown men, and I'm like, because I work with kids, and I'm like, all they need is just
Mhm.
somebody,
Yeah.
just somebody
Yeah.
to to check them real quick, yo, little yo, young blood, or whatever,
Or to take them
whatever they
and
would
do
say.
something with them.
Exactly, exactly.
All this talk on what do you call YouTube? All this talk on YouTube, all of these inspirational posts on Instagram. But I'm not seeing any action.
Well,
I'm not seeing any
thank you,
action.
thank you, preacher sister, preacher sister. You making me tingle now, girl. Yes, you speaking my language.
It's a fact. I mean, when you look at what Black women are doing, I there's so many issues around this term, but when you see what women are doing, women of color, women from our community are doing, we're moving. We're moving. And the more we move, you see our children move with us. They grow with us. They succeed with us. But there's one thing holding this movement back.
Somebody put in my chat too. I don't know was it you or somebody. I
Mm,
don't know who it was, but it was like she found a really good guy, and so when she told him, once she told him that she had kids, he left. Like, listening to these people,
right.
and
But
a
they
lot
don't
of
want but they don't want us to step outside of this so-called race, so-called community. But nobody's
no. My thing is, then don't talk about the youth at all. If you did not do anything to try to help the youth, don't
That's
talk
right.
about them being a single they
That's
or
right.
they kid. You have no right. Even, I don't mean a group of them. You could have just helped one. You have no right to now talk about the state of affairs what our youth are in when you don't want to deal with them. And then when Kevin Samuel, oh, he in Brooklyn too, girl. I just wish I would have known when he was at, cause I would go start my shit. But he under my nose somewhere. But the money that they charge, they know people can't afford that. So who you really helping? Because
Right.
the people you need to help ain't got no money. They can't afford to go to your classes. And it ain't like you doing free classes.
And
Everything is
again,
money,
it's
money,
all
money.
talk. It's all talk. And we are tired of talk. I'm gonna read some of these comments.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Let
but
me share you out while you do that.
okay. I'm gonna read some of these comments, but again, anybody is welcome to come up. Um, says this world is testing the righteousness. Okay.
Hmm.
Um, Yemi says, "Wow." Uh, what they yes they did, yes they did, and because there's a lack of investigation, no one knows why, no one knows who did it, no one's been arrested, and this is a common theme in our community. I know people who have admitted to doing very terrible things, very terrible things.
Oh, I hate to
and have
cut you
walked
off.
away after doing those terrible things.
I hate to cut you off because my memory. I'm gonna forget. Congratulations, girl, on your 2 interviews. I think you did a phenomenal job. I was so happy for you. I seen my sister up there asking all the right questions.
Oh, thank you.
I was, I'm your big one of your biggest cheerleaders. 'Cause we go all the way back. But I was so I went because I didn't want it to skip my mind. Congratulations on a job well done. You did a
Oh,
phenomenal job on them 2 interviews. I was shocked to see you up there. I didn't even know you knew the T, right? I was shocked, but I was just happy you was there. One of us was there on that panel.
hopefully I'll get better at those interviews. My goal is to really you know, get better.
Well, baby,
Yeah,
you was hitting the questions that people was not asking. So,
thank you. Okay, Egypt says many have converted to a microwave era. No one talks about morals, values, and standards. That's a fact. Remember, the system is programming us to act. Key is we not thinking for we're not thinking for ourselves before we act. Absolutely. The unsolved murder rate in Chicago is high. That says a lot about what authority are doing. Absolutely. Yes. Yes, they want them to do this. That's why they don't find the person, the perpetrator, the person who committed the crime. They don't find them on purpose.
mm,
Let it be a
mm,
situation where it's a somebody in another community who is
mm,
the victim. Let it be somebody with a little bit of money or status. They'll find the criminal then.
mm.
Uh uh let's see. Egypt also says it's difficult to talk to the youth because of ego and the thought of having power. Yeah.
No,
Demons is a whole joke. He's a brainwashing
no,
both genders.
Egypt. I had 900 kids come to me. It's all about your approach to them. And people think their approach got to be nice. No, your approach got to be like how Big Mama approached us. And where I'm at, most of these, it's a shame when you live in this building and the next building right next to you, you can't go into that building. You can't walk down that block. You can't walk down this block because there's so much gang and stuff activity. So when I get them, I make them be kids again. Like I make them be kids. So you're gonna have some that's gonna try you, and the ones that try you, you say thank you very much for your services. Cause I give them, I do some of these jobs. Thank you very much for your services. I thank you. They're no longer needed, right? And then once you say that, they come right back with their mama, and they get their act together. But you have to start. Like I said, you have to even start with one. They only act like that because they are abused, because nobody took the time out to even check them. Mama probably working or mommy probably doing her.
Right. And see,
Who
people
knows?
understand when you leave a woman, I know it's hard sometimes. You have a difficult time with a person, but that's why the process of finding your significant other, your partner, the person you plan on having children with is so important, and it takes time, because once you have a child, that is it. That child needs you. You are no longer the primary person in your life for a very long time.
Girl, you still be they still beg when they in their 20s, their 30s,
20s and
and
30s,
they
I still call
and
them
they
mama.
poor, and they still think
That's
it
right.
never stops. It
That's
never
right.
stops.
And it shouldn't.
Oh
Hi,
God.
Egypt. How are you today?
Hey,
Oh,
honey, I'm good. How y'all doing?
hi,
All
Egypt.
right. What are your
Welcome.
thoughts, Egypt?
Okay, so going back to my statement, I know, like, I'm from Chicago, born and raised. It's a lot of what you call politics going on in Chicago. I'm a 74 baby. From my era up until now, I was also affiliated within the streets.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also a straight A student, so I live like a double life.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, authority in my time, they were members. They were members.
Mm.
So a lot of stuff was political. I don't know if you all know, but the mayor, Lori Lightfoot, she was affiliated in the day. So when you get politics like that, and when you get young minds that's not aware of politics, it's very, very hard to convert what they consider power, which is guns, which is getting their stripes, which is you got to go do a murder, you got to go do a hit, and most times you get paid for it. So when these young cats right now is looking at power and their ego can't decipher righteousness from evil, and you have masses of these young folks doing that, you putting yourself out there really to, I won't say waste your time, but you literally, okay, perfect example, I do tattoos. So when I do tattoos, it's mostly with young folks. I do have to be careful about what I say because I can feel energy of people. And some people, you could say just the wrong thing and they will snap only because of their ego and their power drivenness and what they've done. Can you imagine actually going to kill a person and then just going home, popping a pill, drinking some lean, getting numb, and waking up the next morning?
I have a
But
question
you
for you,
got
Egypt.
$7,000
Oh,
cash for doing it.
I have a question for you, Egypt.
Mm,
Do Why do you think that something so life altering, something you just took someone's life, why do you think that that has become the norm, and or the primary way that people from the hood think that they can make money?
you got to look at the root of it. Okay, so think about the structure, and I'm just going to use Chicago as an example. Think about the structure that there was when they had organizations that they deemed gangs. There was our people. That's when our people was able to raise these young folks. The gang raised me. I'll put it like that. They raised me. They gave me morals, values, standards, and rules and regulations that we had to follow by in order to be a part of this this particular entity. They treated us as if your parents would treat you. um when that was when First of all, think about the structure. They tore that down. They called it gangs, they called it thugs, but it wasn't that. So they society deemed, or rather shut down, a lot of entities in the black communities that were helping each other. Black Panthers, the Move, then gangs. If you think about every organizational structure that tried to get together, that acted out the boundaries of silence and secrecy, in which we
And peace.
displayed ourselves, it was shut down. It
Hmm.
was totally shut down. So go to when it was shut down, and think about the living conditions. They had these housing projects where they made a lot of black women complacent. It was almost like, don't get a job, don't get with a man, or secretly get with a man
That's right.
so you could get housing. Another programming. It make you complacent. It don't make you feel like a nurturer, or it doesn't make a man feel like an earner.
Mm.
We got that among masses now. Now think about this: masses of people. Okay, you give them 30 years of this shit. You give them 30 years to be complacent and just to keep opening lay legs, popping out babies, talking about women, just to get benefits and resources. But they are not teaching these children. So we got a lot of my generation is either locked up or dead. So I look at the errors. I look at these generational gaps. I look at the children's children, which would have been my children. I don't have kids, thank God.
You don't have any children. Oh
Oh,
wow.
girl, let me tell you something. I was so bent out of shape. I used to have depression. I used to be manic depressant because of this fact, because I was not able to hold a baby past 2 months. And the doctors kept giving me all these different lies, different fucking lies. And what made me come out of that is literally looking at what's going on right now, and I'm considered one of the blessed, being a barren woman, because first of all, I'll be in somebody's jail, I'll be in somebody's building. Okay, get back to the topic. But I do have nieces and nephews. Okay, so when I look at these kids, and remember the distractions
No,
now.
no, I'm sorry. Can I cut you off for a second?
Absolutely.
You say you don't have any children. Are you single?
Yeah.
So, according to someone like a Kevin Samuels, having children prevents you from finding love or whatever. You don't have that so-called barrier. Why are you single?
I'm an intellectual. I'm an intellectual. Kevin Samuels is a fucking joke. He's a joke.
We know
He
that.
considers a high class or a high standard woman as Rihanna and Beyonce. Like, he literally is considering women that are in a entertainment, which is a real ritualistic industry with talents of singing, to be high standard. You have intellectual people out here. You have women that don't have burden baggage, who have talents. I'm a seamstress. I own my own telecommunications business. I'm a tattoo artist. And literally, I'm so gifted that anything I say out my mouth, I can do. So Kevin Samuels, I try to stray away from him because that's another reason why a lot of this is going on. When you are focusing, or not even focusing, when you allow certain things to get into your psyche,
Hmm.
you start believing it. Whatever you believe is the truth.
And
Whatever you believe is your reality.
Egypt. And this question is also for you, Sugar Love. And you guys can decide who goes first. When did you decide that the hood life was something you didn't want to live anymore? And
Hmm.
in what ways did you begin to change?
Well, with me, like I say, I lived a double life. So I always had a thirst for knowledge. I always had a thirst for education and to learn something. I have a very good retention. So I've always lived this double life where I've surrounded myself around millionaires and became a certain person. And then I love the hood because that's where I came up. And Chicago in my era was segregated. So I never really was around other cultures like Caucasians, Hispanics. They weren't in our area. We didn't grow up with that. So we didn't see that. We saw that as authority. Teachers, librarians. That's the only time we saw white people in our neighborhoods. Even in our day, the police wasn't white. They put black officers, which again were members, in our neighborhood. I still really love the hood.
What
However,
about the hood do you love so much?
okay, so in Chicago, we have a thing of loyalty and honor. And and charisma. So the scammers, the con men, the killers will sit on the corner and talk with you. And as long as you really aware of what's going on, what they get into, you learn so much. You see so much. It's so much excitement. It's so much energy. And you obtain that. Now, how you use it is on you. So I
I,
still love the
I
hood.
got, well, I missed some of the things because I had to go to the ladies' room. But that part, I feel what she's saying. Not saying that we love the hood or nothing, but that is absolutely correct. Because I'm Brooklyn, right? So I get it. So a lot of things you do see, a lot of things you do see, a lot of things you do learn, and like she said, whatever you do with it. But the good thing for me, a good thing that I was, early 70s, I was brought up in them 80s and the crack era and stuff. So our demeanor is a lot different from other people's demeanor because at that point in time, how they shooting now is not like how they shot. They shot more when that crack epidemic came out. It was
My question, okay, Sugar Love,
time.
you've told us, I've heard you say, that you dabbled a little bit into a certain lifestyle in your
Huh?
past, right?
What dabble? What did I do?
I don't know. You said you dabbled.
Oh no,
Um,
I didn't dabble. Wow.
I don't know. That's what you. I don't know. It was a
No,
conversation that we had, I think, on your platform.
I didn't do no dabbling now. I
I
don't
mean, like,
know about that.
huh?
I don't know about
I mean, living a certain lifestyle.
I no, I don't know. I ain't say no lifestyle. I have always been the same. But I was probably I don't know what the thing was. I probably meant back in the days where when they be talking about femininity, how I was beyond feminine, and I had to always look the best. But I grew out of that.
Right,
So
and that's okay. So
but
that's the point. How did you grow out of it? How? What steps did you take?
it was too much negative attention for me. It was too much negative attention. It was too many. I'm the type of person I like for people to get to know me. I have a lot of people, and then I like to test these things out. And I like to test these things out. Like if I was just looking all regular with a bonnet or whatever, can I still pull a man? I just do these things to play with myself. And yes, I do with the head bonnet and everything. But the thing is, the main thing is, because I run a youth organization. Some
Can you
people
say that again? Can you say that louder? And can you?
I I run got my allergies, but I gotta get it out. I just put some tea on the stove. A youth organization, right?
Shout out to anybody in the comments, anybody who's watching this video. This woman just said she's not only living a life, living a right, a healthy, normal life, but she's contributing. So if you want to see what an example of not just talking but walking, here it is.
Yeah, and I started with one table, one crayon book in the parks, right? Then we stepped up, so then we had to do free lunch and breakfast for the kids. And what I people will be so amazed because these like some things I tell these kids, they be like, "You joking, right? You joking, right?" I told one boy he could be a lawyer because he had the gift of gab. I learned all of their good attributes. I tried to learn what I do. So this boy had the gift of gab, and nobody could beat him in an argument. I said, "You'll make a great lawyer." I said, "Please, Then he was like, "Stop playing, stop playing. You lying. You just trying to say that to make me feel good." I said, "No." He said, "Nobody's never told me this before."
Mm.
And then I come across a lot of kids that were saying, "Nobody told me this before. Nobody told," because I looked past the street. But a good thing that I was in the streets and I know how to handle these kids, and I keep bats and stuff all around. Don't worry about it. But but
See, that's
a
what I was talking
lot
about. You said you grew up in the streets. I wish you could kind of elaborate without,
I was
getting into detail.
no. What I mean by grew up in the street is I was I was, like I said, we had the crack era. So we was the one at 1 minute it was just regular fights. We all used to eat at each other's parents' houses. We
Hmm.
used to call each other mommy or auntie. You know, just we had the sleepovers. You could have leave the doors open, and then just crack changed it just like that. So,
Mm.
so now all the people that was once friends are now killing each other.
Right.
You know, and it was so much shooting. I, we used to call ourselves the running man because it was always shooting and we was always running. So we call so you seen, and even though you seen it, remember these were your friends before they sold crack. You got to see that's what people's missing. So it's not like we hung around crack dealers or whatever. It just happened so fast, but we just went to school together. So you still gonna conversate with them. You still gonna say, "Hey, how you doing? What's going on?" You still gonna have conversations with them because y'all grew up together. It just so happened you just can't stand too close to them no more because they are now a target.
So the reason I'm asking these questions, the reason I'm so glad that you ladies are up here, is because I want to, and I think you guys are a really good example. I want people to understand that it don't matter where you start, right? It don't matter where you start, where you came
Mhm.
from.
Yes, sis.
You two are examples of this is where I started, but this is where I ended up. And not only did I end up here, I didn't stop just by living. I'm contributing in some way, whether it's um, be, taking care of my nieces or nephews or having an organization. My goal is to try as in any way I can to stop these young people from looking to the streets for love, for a sense of belonging, right? why are why is there such a decline in male presence when it comes to doing this?
That's because they created these new words like high value men. They created like the red pills or the blue pill. A lot of these things is that's going on now. So now, if you're not up to par, you can't get into their club. It's like they think it's like they throwing away the people who need the help, but act like they're helping people.
Wow.
Not only that, if you think logically about the ratio of melanated man to women, again, a lot of them think about the population that's in the buildings, that's living in the buildings for life. Think about that for a minute. So there's not as many black men in society that is here in a population. Then think about the distractions of the single women that have these children. How could they take time to nurture these children when they playing both man and woman as far as roles in order to live? And then third, think about the the distraction in the kids. Like Sugar Love said about the crack era. If you think about, I kept listening and she kept referring to us, like our age or our friends, as the drug dealers. These young folks now is the new junkies. They are the new junkies. They young. They 11 to 21 popping ecstasy every day. Codeine, drinking liquid codeine with lean. Now they on perks, painkillers, which if you think about that, hey, they are numbing themselves. How can you get through to someone who's numb?
Right.
This is a hard pill to swallow. My friend asked me, and I use that term loosely because I love all my people. I met a girl at a bar, sitting at a bar, came in and she struck up a conversation about my outfit because I be way out. And getting to talking and talked about her son being 21 and being locked up. His first case, but he been in there like over a year now because of COVID for carjacking. And she like, he don't listen to me. What can I do? Do you have any suggestions on what I could do as a parent? It was so hard for me to say this to her, but I feel this in my heart. If you think about biblical days in Sodom and Gomorrah, it wasn't a lot of lot. Sometimes you have to let things play out in order to get it past to get into a new era. We not ever gonna die. We are the original human beings. We not ever gonna die. It's still gonna be some of us during this end days. If say a volcano, say Yellowstone erupts, it's going to kill most of the population, just like the prehistoric days, but it's still gonna be a black person somewhere to repopulate.
Hold so as I hear what you're saying. I want to I that's a whole different subject.
I know
I
you
would
like to
love
get
to.
deep, girl.
This is definitely a topic I would love to have. Is our resilience and how we ain't going nowhere. Absolutely.
I only
However,
say that
today
to say it's harder to talk to these young folks
I want
because
you to look at
they're
the
numb.
screen. Can you look at the screen? Look at the screen.
Yeah, we
So
can see it, but we can't. Even you
it's too
want to.
Yeah,
small.
small. Wait
It's
a minute, look
small.
this.
Okay. So this is the population grid. I wish I could find a better one. So it says that there is there's not much of a gap between black males, quote unquote black males and black females. There's not much of a gap. Let me see. I wish y'all could see this. Let me see if they have something.
No, but we see it enough to
Okay.
right.
Yeah, and then a lot of those senses I do pay attention to, but then I don't pay attention to because they literally ask you, what's your nationality?
Right. And so
Um,
yeah.
do you know on doctors, when I used to go to the doctor, I don't deal with them anymore.
Mhm.
When I used to go to the doctor, it really freaked me out that they would ask me, what's my race?
Right.
This before they even see me. I got a broke arm. My shoulder is dislocated. And they asking me my fucking race.
Mm.
It confused me. Cause I'm like, why? They asking me about my family history.
Hmm.
Do you know when the AIDS epidemic came out, it blew my mind. Because I could not believe that they kept telling me, they kept trying to put in my head that black people was the most people who had HIV and AIDS because of these ways that they were saying you contracted.
Right.
I'm like, we not the horniest people. We
On Earth, right?
not the ones that's shooting up. Like my mama was a heroin addict. She died of heroin. She tooted. She ain't never shoot up. We not homosexuals. In those days, it was even taboo. So even though you had some of us as homosexuals, it wasn't a lot.
Right.
So it made me start thinking that these institutions is giving us this shit. People said you crazy, you weird. And I'm like, okay, but think about it. When you go to the hospital for anything, they asking you about your race. Think about the different duties that they have in hospitals. Why do they have 14 different people for a phlebotomist to take the blood, another person to do the charts, another person to read your blood pressure, the doctor's assistants? Why all of these people? It's almost like it's a setup to say, okay, this chart says she's black, she's 30, so go in this bag to get the needle to do her blood work, which the needle is manufactured through a whole nother system that we are unaware of.
So I have issues with the term as well, but I guess it's to encompass multiple groups of people, the indigenous people who have ancestry here, as well as other people who are across different seas. The reason specifically, people of color here, melanated people of color here, we are mixed with so much stuff. So unfortunately, black is just one of those terms that kind of like bring us all
That's
together.
that's why that population. That's why I say I look at statistics,
Yep.
but then I don't.
Right. Yep. Yep.
And then even that, and I know that's a whole nother topic, but I look at that too. Like
Yes.
people think that in our days we were tortured and raped and all of that to program us or put fear in us. I have a whole nother perspective about it. It
Mm.
was basically to mix them with us so we wouldn't be as powerful as we are made to be.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so that is also another topic. I'm gonna tell you why. Because um, if you know anything about the Spanish-speaking countries like Brazil and um,
DR.
in Spain, that's
Hmm.
exactly what they did. It's a
Hmm.
form of like gentrification or whitewashing to eliminate a specific race.
Absolutely.
But that's a whole nother topic.
Absolutely. It
um,
just ties into
right.
what I was saying about this
Absolutely.
population and the statistics.
Yeah. So we take
It,
these with a
it's
grain of salt. Absolutely. The only reason why I'm pointing it out is because according to certain statistics, many statistics, different statistics, um male the household, the person who makes the most money, males rank at only 6% of the population, where females who are head of households make up 32%. Do you think that is an accurate depiction?
absolutely. Absolutely. Think about what they did with the black man. They tore the black man down and then put us at the top for us to tear black men down.
Hmm.
So in doing that, okay, so and we had this conversation last time I was on here. I'm very much single. I'm very much single, but I'm a dependent woman. And it's crazy because I got into this dependent status because I worked for 16 years straight. I was married for 16 years. I worked for 16 years straight because my black husband could not hold a job. And it was basically because I enabled him to think that he could do whatever he wanted and I was going to take care of everything, in which it was exactly what happened.
You mothered him instead of being his wife.
I didn't even mother him. I had the concept that we could grow together.
Oh, okay.
So what I did was believe the lie.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
he never, that's another thing about a black man. A black man is so hard to acknowledge their flaws. If you don't acknowledge your flaws, you can never fix them. So they
Well,
will never acknowledge that they feel less than. They feel like this is hindering them. They never do that. So now they are building on this lie to themselves.
yeah, and they getting together, building on these lies, and making us the scapegoat.
That's
Mm,
right. That's right.
mm.
That's right. And it's hurting us because I was told in my spirit that I was being too aggressive as an independent woman. I was being overwhelmed playing both roles. And remember, I don't have any children.
Right.
So I still had to play both roles of the woman and the man in my house. I had to get up at a certain time. I had to go be at a place at a certain time. I had to play a role at this place. Then I had to come home and make sure that my nourishment was okay. It's too much. It's too much. And then with anybody who say, well, I could do it, I'm not saying it can't be done, but it's too much. It takes away the time where you focus on what's really important in your life, for your lifestyle.
Why do
So
you think it's more difficult for men to become entrepreneurs than women? Because they're in the workforce. I can see a discriminatory, a systematic discrimination. But what is it when it comes to entrepreneurship where the black men just fail?
because
Well,
they don't have no focus on it. The dude house who I stay in, the dude he put me on this deed.
Yep, you told us.
This is what makes me a dependent woman because I don't pay no bills. I grow businesses. That's what I do.
Oh,
I
favorite
talked to him
girl. Thank you.
about that. I said, what do that's right, favorite girl. I talked to this dude about it because he's good at certain things like lawns, cutting lawns and landscaping. I said, have you ever thought about, getting your own company and just, doing what you do and growing yourself? Because he has children. To leave something behind for your children, he's like, no. I'm just a working man. I just get up and go to work. It's easier for me. So now we go to the microwave era. Everybody wants shit that's easy. They don't even understand the concept that working hard and earning something will give you a better value of your outcome.
yes, Lord. What another thing is too is that I noticed is that the first one. Sorry, I don't know what y'all believe in, but I'm saying the devil is busy. But now what they have, because I'm going to show it because some of the not on here but on my show, because some of the comments only I can see because YouTube didn't even put it in the thing because they were so vulgar and the things they said to me. But they're trying to disconnect the older and the younger, these adult men, because they want these young girls. They want to be the ones, which has always happened in other countries, but now they're bringing it here now. They want to be the one to mold them. So every time, like an older woman say something, it's like, "Well, you're too old to be in this conversation." We're talking to no one. You ain't got no business talking. No, we talk to the younger girls. But now they all into molding. They don't care about saving these young boys. They don't care about their community. They only care about molding young girls so they can be at oh, husband is home. Oh, let's cook and let's clean. We don't even gotta cook. We ain't even gotta cook no more. You get your Uber, you get any meal you want. But they are in this real molding phase now, and they separating us. And like so they keep always asking. I'm gonna show you all the stuff that's right today. These women are old generation. Why are they even talking about the younger generation? I'm so sick of hearing that because I be doing. I'm so sick of hearing that. Who is the best person to hear that from? An
Hmm.
old woman or an older man to a
Hmm.
to a younger woman? They don't want us to tell them that education is the way because they quick to say we don't care about your education. We don't care about your job because they know that's what we push. And I also did. You can check out any video in February. I made February nothing but Black History Month. Throughout everything you would see, they always pushed education. It wasn't for just the boys, neither. They always pushed. I want you to have a better life than me, and they pushed education, education, education. So these people, they want to undo it and make it seem like if education wasn't pushed to young girls and just for men, and we have our place and we have our job. So that's the devil making this gender war is crazy. But I don't
Right.
even
It's
care
real
about
bad.
the gender war.
What do
I
you
care about when you tell us we're too old to talk to a younger girl. Like what?
right?
What? So
What do you think
you
the
the better
solution
person.
is, Sugar
There
Love?
is not going to be no solution.
You gotta let it play out.
Uh huh.
Wow.
Uh huh.
You gotta let it play out because it's gonna play out.
That's right.
It's gonna play out, and that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
You
Do
know,
you think that we have to leave we kind of have to just wash our hands with those who do not want to correct their behaviors?
I won't even say that. I got a theory about that.
Okay.
I always tell my people, it's so many people I talk to, and they don't hear me. They don't want to hear me, and I could tell that. But I still do my justice and what I'm supposed to do. What my purpose is to spread the message. Because even though you don't hear it now,
Yep.
you
Yep.
may hear it. You may hear it 3 years later, just in your
Yep.
mind,
Yep.
and you like, damn.
That is so true.
And
So
it's
true.
not even about accolades no more. I think the best thing that we could do as righteous people is continue to be righteous people, continue to spread the right message, still say, put in the universe because remember, everybody's rights is not everybody's rights. Everybody's wrongs is not everybody's wrongs.
Mm-hmm.
So if you could get people, young people, to understand that there are certain standards and morals of human beings and social responsibilities to humanity, you've done your job. You cannot look for
Uh-huh.
them to act on what you're saying. You cannot wait on them to act on what you're saying. You doing what you're supposed to do just by being a righteous person.
What suggestions or thoughts do you have for mothers who so badly want to support movements of young black males, even though the young black males are living these, let's just call it criminal lifestyles? What do you say to like the mother who went to to the corner of where her son was murdered for as for to hold a memorial and then ended up losing her own life? What can you say to those mothers?
Be careful.
And
Think before you move. That's all you can say. Because they doing what they feel like they supposed to do. Hey Google, turn on the light. They doing what they supposed to do as mothers. Think they doing what they think they supposed to do, but at the same time, they putting themselves in positions to also karma. Okay, so for parents, I tell my sister this all the time, and she hates to hear it. Your children are a direct reflection of you. So whatever your children are doing,
I'm sorry.
Hold on, let her finish her thought. Go ahead.
Yeah.
You can rebuttal when she's
Uh-huh.
done.
No, it's not a rebuttal. Go
Uh,
ahead.
whatever your children are out there doing or in there doing, you have in some way instilled it, condoned it, or ignored it. And this is the product of that. Hey, Google, turn on the light.
Go ahead, sugar love.
I disagree. I'm saying it as a joke though. Cause
Uh,
the two of my kids, they ain't got none of me in them. Neither. They
None of what you want to admit.
no. They have none of me in them. You know. And sometimes you can rate, and at the same time, they're two different, totally entire kids that come from the same household. They are two totally different kids. But I do get the part that the kids are a reflection of you. But ain't not that that's not how it go all the time. It don't go like that all the time. A lot of times, peer pressure plays a part in it. Sometimes what you teach your kids go right out the window. Because I've seen it happen all the time. I see how when kids come with their mothers will come with them. If they start off with a summertime and never fails, they start off not the talking about the ones we would call good girls. Their shirt would be so long, way past their butt, and then the next week the shirts start going higher, 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 and then next thing you know, they got the little knot in the back of the shirt. Once one boy look at them, it takes one little boy to look at you, or one person that's a wrong influence that would now when they get older, what we taught them we will see. Like Now I see myself in my daughter, but she's in her 30s. So I said, okay, she did listen. She did hear me. It took me 20 years to find out that she did hear me, right? But sometimes I know a lot of good parents that's out there.
Sugar Love, did you do that as a child?
What?
Start your shirt at below your butt, bring it up, tie it in a knot,
Mm-mm,
get get attracted by the young boy that looked at you.
mm-mm,
You didn't.
mm-mm. I'm talking about my, not my kids. I'm talking about what I see all the time. But I didn't do that. Mm-mm.
I only say that because like I say, I study human nature. I've been doing that since I was little, not
I
knowing that
study.
that's what I
Yeah,
was doing.
I study it too.
So,
Mhm.
like a lot of these kids, my little sister has a daughter that is so off the chain. You'll be like, girl, that is not your niece, but it is. So she came down here in Atlanta, and she did exactly what you talking about. But when I say your children are a direct reflection of you got to look at where she came from, her mama and her daddy, and their literally their life, who they are, because that's what you're going against. That's what you're right now trying to deprogram.
That's right.
So I was literally had her in my house, and I went to work. I was working. I got cameras in my house. So I see her, and at this time, I had my own condo. So I was taking in young boys because I'm a tattoo artist, but I was working a job also. So I'm taking in young boys to literally help them get off the street and just talk to them to show them there is another way. Because that's what a lot of them get focused on, this one way that's going to bring them. Remember, this is a microwave era. Everybody looking for something that's quick. So I saw her being promiscuous with the men that I had living in my house, which I had two boys living in my house. So I would call her, tell her. I even took off work one time and just popped up at the house to explain to her, you're looking like a Jezebel. Do you know what that is? She didn't know what it was. Of course, I told her what it was. And remember, these children have choices. So you literally have to respect their choices, even if it's bad. Because I'm telling her, you want to be a hoe, and I'm like,
So
you.
let me just say this real quick before we continue. Let me just say this, okay? Number one, children have choices, absolutely, but like you said, they are a direct reflection of you. So the choices that they make are the choices that you bring forth to them. Okay, my daughter's in karate. She ain't out here doing whatever it is that I guess other children do when they start to dabble into their sexuality and understanding their hormones. However, I know that had I not paid a little more attention to my child, had I not given her an avenue for extracurricular activities, pushed her when she was not doing so well in her school studies, I would have had a different behaved child. Yes. And so, and then there are things as they get older that we will not be able to help. I understand that, but you give them the tools.
That's
Exactly.
right.
So when you ask the child, Egypt, when you ask that child, are you being a hoe? You just put something into her subconscious that she should not have.
I asked her, "Do you want to be that?"
Right.
Because
And
she's you can by her actions,
mhm.
it's already in her subconscious.
Was there another way you could have asked her that question? Another
Girl,
way
my,
to ask her
whole
about
tactic,
promiscuity.
my whole tactic was to keep it real with her, so
Okay.
she can understand. Because this is what I believe is the thin line for behavior consequences. When
Mhm.
you don't know your consequences, it's
Yeah.
way different from if you are definitely aware of your consequences, because then you can actually think, can I deal with those consequences before you make your choice?
Right.
So I was literally letting her know these are the consequences of the actions that you are presenting right now.
Mm-hmm.
And in that lifestyle of being a hoe, I asked her, you ever had anal sex?
Ooh.
She like, oh no, auntie. Oh, but you screwing. You having vaginal sex and you giving head. This child is 15 years old while I'm talking to her like this. Because this is what she's showing me. So an adult to shock a kid to say, let you know, these are the consequences of that. You in Atlanta, Georgia. You go get in a car and you see all these woods. It's not like that in Chicago. Like Chicago concrete, these woods. I said, you meet these dudes or these girls, because she called herself bi and all that. I'm like, this is what's going to happen. These are the consequences to those actions. Now that you are aware of that, let's see what you do now.
I
Two
like
months,
that. Yeah.
2 months later, she was gone. She left. She left my house and went back to her mama house.
But that's what I'm saying. So, okay. So there we go again. More than likely, her mother is enabling those behaviors that is going to lead her down a path that is going to create a cycle of abandonment that she's going to experience from from males, because she's looking for love. Maybe she's looking for love. Maybe that's why she's dressing the way she's dressing. I'm not sure, but it sounds like she doesn't have a father in the home, and so she's going to repeat those steps. And it's unfortunate that sometimes as people, we do need, sometimes, not all the time, to be a little bit coddled. We do need somebody to not always give it to us real. There's a time and a place, you get what I'm saying, because you scared her away. And that and
Oh, it wasn't scare away.
by
It
no,
was
by
I'm
no means
not
do
gonna
I
take
think
that.
by no means do I think your intentions were terrible or were bad. I think intentions were absolutely amazing. The goal was to show her this is how people are going to treat you. This is what people are going to label you if you continue doing what you're doing. But we also, I think, we the because the goal is to bring people to us, to bring these very vulnerable people to us. Um, I maybe trying different tactics throughout different times. Because the live that I do, the channel that I have, is to expose and to have real conversations about real issues surrounding women in the people that we are around. You get what I'm saying? Our daughters, our nieces, our nephews, our husbands, our sons, our mothers, our fathers.
But
It,
let me.
go
Oh,
ahead. Go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
just like to say, well, me when I deal with these kids, I can't give it no other way but straight no chaser. Sometimes these kids do need to hear that, but I also every morning when they see me, I'm like, good morning. I teach them like they manners and stuff like that. But when they get out of hand, being that they in the street, you got to give it to them raw, no chaser. And they all, at the end of the day, they always will say thank you. I have never had it to whereas, and some kids, you do got to talk to nicely. But when you're doing something that's going to destroy your life, I got to give it to you raw, no chaser. And what
Because
another
the
point I
world
want
don't
to make
give it to you.
and another point I want to make: look how people like us, like look at your ancestors. Like my grandmother had 8 kids.
Right.
Some people grandmothers had, and that because your parents could do but only for so much. And if you look at it, you can raise all your kids the same. But my grandmother was a drinker and a smoker, a heavy drinker and a smoker. My mother never drank, never smoked. I got some aunts and uncles who never drank, never smoked. Some followed and became addicts and all of that. So you got to think about it. People always try to blame it on the mother. You can raise all your kids the same, but all of them gonna come out different.
That's
Only,
right.
so. But as far as like with these kids and stuff, I can't give them to them no other way. And
But
then
statistics show
mm,
that if you have both parents in the household, the likelihood of them coming out more educated, more successful, more I guess you would call a part of society, not on the fringes, doing things that would promote bad behavior and get them incarcerated. Having two parents in a household help that the number of
I,
successes grow.
do you know how many mothers and fathers, and I mean kids who come from two parent home households? And this happens to me. I don't do statistics because I am a statistic. I see it all the time.
Everyone is a statistic in some way.
No, what I mean by I don't have to read it because I do my own group of statistics. Do you know how many mothers and fathers walked up in there thinking they was going to tell me off, and I had to say to them, yes, your child too. I had to break a lot of their feelings because how kids act in the house and they act a certain type of way around mommy and daddy, and when they get away from mommy and daddy, they just like any old regular old kid. And then a lot of these kids I have came across where you would have thought that they was going to be nothing, and I wrote letters. I make sure, like the councilman at the end, I make sure the councilman, I make sure they know all the politicians. I make sure they know everything that they need to know. They all get awards and stuff. And a lot of kids who you think because they got a single parent, and a lot of them, I hate to say it, some when they used to get their check, not to mind you, the kids get the check on their own card now.
Yep.
Do you know how many parents beat them to work? I'm like, how, they beat the kids to work to get the kids money, not knowing that the kids got the money already on their card. The parents were so desperate. So you never know. You never know how a kid is going to turn out. But I will tell a lot of people who talk like, or they from a good household, and I always break their
I
heart.
didn't so sugar love. I sugar love. I didn't say that a child is guaranteed that, because if you come from a household with two toxic parents, you're gonna end up
Right.
with toxic behaviors. What I said was that the chances are much higher, and the goal of this live is to find a way to bring um, black males back into the picture for black communities.
It got to be done in silence and secrecy. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Go ahead, say it again.
It got to be done in silence and secrecy. I'm gonna tell you that right now. The success of the organization that I was a part of that raised me, and I come from a two-parent home. I come from a wealthy family,
Mhm.
but none of that was ever presented to me. That's why I can look at things in a different perspective. I was homeless at 14 years old. I was raised in the streets of Chicago from 14 to 22 when I got married. The streets literally did the exact same things. The organization did the exact same thing that my parents would have done. So even in a two-person home, and my dad was a crack addict and my mom was a heroin addict. They were married for years.
But you see, that's two toxic situations, right? Uh,
They showed one thing they did in this, it wasn't toxic to us because
Mm.
they literally raised us in a way that the Huxtables would raise their children. So as my parents was high as fuck, they would tell us to go get the Encyclopedia Britannica and go get S.
That was my grandmother when she did the same thing. Oh my God.
God and would have us sit and read one whole section to them and would do this a lot as they were high. So when things, when you get high and you overuse it, when you do too much of anything, it's abuse. So when they start abusing the drugs is when we lived as gypsies. We moved every freaking year to apartments. The last straw was at 14 years old when my dad got locked up and my mom just didn't come back home, and the sheriff's coming to put our stuff out, and we don't want to tell on our parents to get them in trouble because we got this honor and loyal aspect going.
right.
Now you got to figure out how to live out here. I lived in the streets for 7 years.
Egypt, would you be willing to do an interview with me?
Absolutely.
Meow.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
And my point in saying all this is we were catered to listen
right,
to our adults. We were trained to respect your elders. That training went away when they took away the projects. When they start putting they already know what's going on. They study us. We
right,
don't study ourselves.
right.
So they know what things to do in order to get an outcome. The guns, the shooting right now. Do you literally think these boys is just getting guns by themselves? They these guns have been placed.
Okay, so we about to get off topic again, but let me tell you this. I what you're about to say, there is firsthand accounts of people seeing exactly what you just said. But I'll save that. I'll save that for, oh my goodness, we have so many
And
topics.
I only brought that up to say the programming of the young people.
Yes, yes. There's definitely something there, and I will. Oh
So
my
what
goodness.
you think? What you think a young person gonna do? Bring
Exactly.
it to you who don't you don't even got time to talk to them because you working,
Yep.
coming home and feeding.
Yep. Look at this, and that brings up what Ivy just said.
From 6 to 15, they can be molded, but it's in separation on the caregiver because they already developing their own needs and desires.
Yep.
Absolutely. So
Yep.
so
And that's when peer pressure comes in.
how can you deprogram that like that?
Yep.
You can't. I mean, I won't even say it's impossible. But what Sugar Love said,
What she
if
said.
you know the common denominator to winning the war, conquer and divide and conquer, you see clearly what's happening. First, they divide your ass, then they could get in your mind. How you think, I'm from a girl, how you think
Yep.
Eligio got all them motherfucking people brainwashed? He
I'm about to end.
separated them from
That's
everything.
right. Yeah, and I wanted to do a live because there's a video. I don't, you know what? Sugar Love, do you have, because I could go on and on and on. Unfortunately, I have to wrap things up. Sugar Love, do you want to say anything?
Yeah, I would just like to say to anybody, if you're an elder, just if you could help one person, just make, just be there. If you see that little young kid, boy or girl, doesn't matter. If you see they're out there doing the wrong thing, don't be scared to go, say, hey, what you doing? And then find them other things to do. But don't be scared of the youth.
Mm,
It's just that
wow.
they've been so broken so many times, and a lot of people, either their mothers working, a lot of people left their lives. So in their mind, they feel they unlovable. Nobody wants me. My dad didn't want me. My mom was not around. So that's just the facade that they have on. Don't be scared to, chat. I don't even care if they're in a gang or whatever. Don't let that scare you either, because they need to know somebody care about them.
That's right.
So I'm gonna leave it like that. If you can talk to any, even if it's somebody in your family, it doesn't matter. Sometimes, because somebody has to step up, or we're gonna keep having these conversations.
That's right.
Oh,
All right. I want to stay. I wish I could stay on all day, but I gotta go sell my book. For anyone who don't know, I am an author. 15 steps. Can you mute yourself, Sugar, in Egypt, real quick? Let me mute her. Let's see if I can do that. Okay. So, 15 steps to finding love, a woman's journey. That is my book. It's about finding love and developing relationships through number one, self-identity, self-development, and really just building the foundation of love within yourself so that it can permeate through everyone around you and to everyone. um Egypt, I hope you continue to unmute yourself. I hope you continue to come up. Sugar Love, thank you so much for coming through. Please subscribe to Sugar Love's channel. Y'all can give yourselves y'all shout outs real quick.
Real talk, you see my outfit I just made
I'm
yesterday?
looking at it as you yes, I'm looking at it. Yes. Give us a
Beautiful.
shout out to your business.
Well, I'm just starting. I just started sewing in October, girl. So
Okay.
Wow.
I'm just practicing to perfection.
That's right.
Jeff, it's been a pleasure meeting you and talking
Absolutely.
to you.
Same here.
I'm glad, but on my channel, you never know what you're gonna see, right?
I watch you too, Sugar Love. I'll be on your channel.
You never know. I may bring something intelligent. I may bring some fuckery.
That's
I
right.
don't. I don't know, but everything still ties to a lesson. Even the fuckery
That's
ties
right.
to a lesson. But
That's right.
I did a video yesterday of why black men shouldn't date. So I want to either do a part two to that or why women shouldn't date. Being that y'all don't want to date us, I don't want to date y'all. How about that? But I would like, to see you guys come up on there. And I think, Egypt, I would love for you to come on the channel one day. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. I was trying to
Absolutely.
get real talk in that daggone
No,
panel
it's
yesterday. But I don't know if he was busy or what, but I was trying to, I said, where's real talk? Where's real talk? I need it.
it was 11 o'clock at night. I was going to bed.
No, I be trying to go to bed too, but I was asleep. I must be getting really old. So I get that little 5-10 minutes sleep, right? And now I'm up. Now I'm up.
Yes, yes. I'm working on it. I'm working on it, y'all. I gotta build
Oh God.
my endurance of the day. But
They be
thank
like,
y'all
"You
so
still
much.
up?" I was like, yeah,
Huh?
I did sleep for 10 minutes, but I enjoyed this, and we got to do more real talk. And around this time, if
Absolutely.
I catch you, I'm gonna jump in there.
Absolutely. Shout out to everybody in the comments. Ivy Ravine, Ocean Yummy, everybody who was in the earlier in the live. Thank you so much, y'all. Hope you have a wonderful day. And
Salute.
yes, I'll see you next time.
All
Peace.
right, keep doing what you do, sis.
Thank you.
All right, bless you.
All right.